Today, I'm showing you guys the best controller settings for all the Zero Build game modes. The settings I'm showing off are coming from the controller players with the absolute best aim in all of Fortnite. For some context on how I found those players, so far in Chapter 3 Season 2, there's been 2 complete Zero Build tournaments, and in the first tournament, Tfue, Cloaksy, and controller player Scoped actually won that, and out of every single player in that entire tournament, Scoped had the second most kills. That ended up winning him $21,000 without ever even placing a single build. And then the second no build tournament was actually a squads one, and controller player TK and his squad actually won that one. And following up in second place right behind TK was actually a team with both Scoped and then controller player Okis was on that team as well. So Scoped, TK, and Okis have all proven to have insane controller aim, and TK and Scoped actually have nearly identical controller settings. So I'll show their settings, which I think are the best linear aim settings, but then we have Okis, and I think Okis could have the best exponential aim settings. So stay tuned for the best exponential aim settings right after the linear ones. So for Scoped and TK's linear settings, here's what we got. Slide hold times at a nice 0.135. Honestly, for this camera thing, I didn't even realize this was a setting until I literally just looked, but I'm assuming pitch in 0.1 is the default since I was just using it and it felt normal. So that's what I'm gonna keep this on for now. For build and edit, these don't really matter since we're not building and editing at all. However, these pros use a 1.9 multiplier on both of those. For their look sense, they use 42% for both horizontal and vertical with no boost. ADS, they use 10% for both horizontal and vertical with no boost on that either. Scoped has a really low look dampening time, but TK doesn't, and I think it's better to not have any look dampening time. Like I mentioned, these are the linear settings, and then for dead zones, TK uses a 10.5 on his PS5 controller, and Scoped uses a 7.6 on his Scuff Impact. However, those dead zones are both specific to their controllers. I use a 10.10 because the only thing this affects is stick drift. So you want to make sure you personalize this to your own controller. And here we go, some Zero Build solos. Let's go see how the linear settings work. Let's go. I might have a bias for linear settings because I've literally used them since they came out. Like I was mentioning, I've literally almost never played on exponential settings, except for maybe trying them for a couple hours here and there. So I definitely do have a preference for them. The large majority of pro tier controller players do use linear settings. I think that the main reason for that is because building is so much better on linear than it is exponential. However, if the competitive landscape changes and there's going to be a lot more of these Zero Build Fortnite competitions, then I could definitely see more pro players switching to exponential. However, at the same time, I think a lot of these really high tier pro controller players have played on linear for so long that it's going to be like impossible to actually get fully used to exponential. These aim settings are actually so solid. Another big reason that linear settings could be better this season is simply because of the movement that they provide over exponential settings. The movement on exponential settings is relatively slow and it's a lot more choppy than linear. Linear is more like mouse and keyboard in the way that it's like faster and it's a lot more smooth. Got 14 elims on these settings so far. We got 4 other players left. Let's see if these linear settings are really about it. That might have been a bad decision. Okay, I gotta figure out where this last guy is. Sounds like he's directly under me. Let's go. 19 elims. I was 18. Either way, those linear settings are actually pretty nuts. That aim was so solid. It wasn't even 18, it was 17. It doesn't matter. Those settings were super good. It's gonna be hard for these exponential settings to follow that game up, but let's give it a shot. So for the best zero build exponential settings, we're gonna be using Ocus's settings, which are these. For slide hold time, still 1.35. Build and edit, once again, don't matter, but Ocus does use a 1.8 build multiplier and 1.7 edit multiplier. And now his look and his ADS sense is pretty funny because they're literally the same thing. It's 45% all across the board. Look horizontal and look vertical, 45%, no boost on the look sense. And then ADS sense horizontal and ADS vertical, 45% as well. However, he does use the ADS turning boost ramp time at 0.2 seconds. No look damaging time, of course, these are exponential. And then for his dead zones, he actually uses 8-9. I think he plays on a PS4 controller, but like I already mentioned, these should be personalized to your specific controller. I haven't even landed yet, and these settings already feel so different. What is that ADS? There's no way that's real, right? I mean, I knew it was gonna be fast, but that is ridiculous. Going to be completely honest, I do not recommend Ocus's settings to anyone. I'm gonna make an executive decision and switch to read settings, which are actually a 50% look horizontal, 60% look vertical. And for ADS, we're gonna be using 17% for both horizontal and vertical with no boost on any of these. Because that high of an ADS sense is honestly not controllable at all. Obviously, Ocus can probably do it just fine, but for the average player, do not use those settings. Yeah, those are much better. I choked that shot. All right, exponential settings get one more shot, but so far I am not feeling too great about these. Exponential settings function in sort of like a sloping way. And what I mean by that is on linear, no matter if you move the analog stick this far or this far, it's moving at the same speed. However, because the curve on exponential, you can actually make really tiny adjustments that you can't really make on linear. So that's really the main reason as to how exponential could be better than linear. But I'm not sure if that single tiny trade-off for a possibly better aim is worth giving up everything that linear gives to you. Okay, exponential settings might slowly be redeeming themselves. That was some really solid SMG aim. All right, situated in a bush, we got 5 other people left. No! I think that just puts the finishing touches on the fact that I think that linear settings are better than exponential. So give those linear settings a chance. Remember to subscribe. Use code Carter2K in the Fortnite item shop to show extra support. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to catch you in a future video.